God, this is pretty amazing. Everyone knows the story of the Titanic. You know, it was the unsinkable ship.
Absolutely.
I have the one and only Ayler Cup.
It's one big cup.
Named after a fellow by the name of Lillard Ayler.
The episode wastes no time diving into history. Literally, a seller walks in claiming he's got a Titanic $50 pulled from the pocket of a victim named John W. Gill. He drops a $125,000 asking price like it's pocket change. Rick perks up, but Corey just stares like, bro, it's a 50-cent piece. The seller insists it has a $1 million story. Rick nods slowly, probably thinking the only thing sinking here will be the deal.
A very old, first edition Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde book.
Oh, that is cool. Let's just make sure it's really first edition.
The seller explains Jill's body was tagged and cataloged in 1912, and this coin was recovered from his pocket. He even bought it at a 2002 Titanic auction for $75,000. Rick listens, fascinated, but already prepping a lowball. The seller says survivors' $1 bills sold for $125,000, so a victim's coin must be worth the same. Rick calls in his coin guy, because Titanic tragedy or not, he won't pay without backup.
There was a few ships that came by. Anything that was on their body was cataloged. It was sealed up, sent back to the family members, and they were buried at sea.
Yeah, these guys picked up 239 bodies.
The coin expert inspects it and confirms the Titanic connection is real, recounting Jill's tragic story. He explains the coin sold in 2011 for $3,850 and again in 2014 for $21,000. Huge difference, but nowhere near six figures. He values it in the $21,000 ballpark. The seller looks crushed, muttering it must have sold in the wrong auction. Rick calmly offers $10,000. The seller fires back with $75,000. Negotiation sinks faster than the ship itself.
$5 supposedly off the Titanic.
Wow, it's a fantastic item.
Do you know anything about it?
Well, John Gill was one of the unfortunate victims.
Switching gears, a woman strolls in with what she swears is a first edition Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. She hopes for $4,500, settling for no less than $2,500. Rick calls in Rebecca, the book whisperer, who beams with excitement. She gushes about Stevenson's nightmare-inspired novel, then examines the binding. Bad news, it's been rebound, so it's missing original covers. Good news, still a first edition. Value, around $4,000. The seller breathes a sigh of relief.
A woman came in with a first edition copy of The Strange Case, Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. If this thing is actually a first edition, I think there's a lot of money here.
Negotiation time. The seller asks for $3,000. Rick counters at $2,500. She pushes to $2,800. Rick edges up to $2,700. Final offer. She accepts, saying $2,700 is better than having a book. Rick smirks, knowing this gothic classic will sell quickly. Corey later jokes Rick's basically the real-life Dr. Jekyll, serious at the counter, cranky Mr. Hyde at home. For once, even Rick can't argue.
A hard time selling it at all.
I mean, what are you willing to take for it?
After what I learned, I think 3,000 would be a great number.
I can tell you what, I'll give you $2,500.
Next up, a man claims he's got Revolutionary War mugs. Big ask, $1,000 for the pair. Rick inspects and immediately spots Victorian-era markings, not revolutionary. Translation, they're 100 years newer, just bar mugs. The seller looks deflated as Rick explains the VR stamp literally means Victorian. Rick offers $20 for the pair. The guy refuses, saying even as novelties, they're worth more. Corey cracks up. This man brought in revolutionary solo cups.
Say some things, and
90 doesn't make her old enough to be in the Revolutionary War.
that's true.
What you have here is real interesting, man.
Howard Hughes enters the chat, sort of. A seller proudly shows off what he thinks is a Hughes altimeter from spy planes that hits 70,000 feet. He wants $500, bragging he bought it at a flea market and needs cash for his honeymoon. Rick examines it and bursts his bubble. No adjustments, no plane. Turns out it's a boiler gauge, basically a fancy thermostat. Rick offers $50. Seller begs for $150. They settle at $60. That'll barely cover his cab fare.
I don't want to sell it to you today.
Okay, so how much do you want for it?
I mean, it's gorgeous. That's a $500 piece right there.
Okay. I mean, this is my big problem. The old planes, you had to adjust your altimeter.
The comedy ramps up when a 14-year-old walks in with a 1936 Zeiss 16mm movie camera. He hopes to flip it for $800 to buy a demolition derby car. Rick lectures him about 16mm film being revolutionary, but expensive. The teen insists it's rare, claiming an appraiser only saw 2 in his life. Rick, unimpressed, offers $100. The kid counters $400 bottom line. Rick refuses, sending him home. Kid mutters he should save it 20 years. Classic pawn shop advice.
News organizations loved them because you could run around, get a news story, and you could sell it to the newsreels. Anyone who's gone to film school at one point probably used a 16mm camera. It's an incredible...
Back at the counter, Chumley and Rick argue film versus digital. Rick rants about depth of field, color reproduction, and the magic of 16mm film. Chum whips out his phone, showing him crystal clear selfies. Corey jumps in with the ultimate roast. This is like Dad refusing to accept he's getting old. Rick fumes, Chum grins, and Corey seals it with, "Don't worry, Rick, you'll be our best old guy." Rick mutters survival of the fittest, but we all know he just lost.
Pops.
Oh, this kid was just trying to sell me an old 16mm movie camera.
It's garbage, isn't it?
Well, sort of, but there's still cool things about film.
And that's the finale. Titanic treasure sinks, Jekyll sells, revolutionary mugs flop, Hughes gauge downgrades, a kid gets pawn schooled, and Rick gets roasted into the digital age. The moral? In the pawn shop, history is valuable.
You can't reproduce.
It's faster, it's more convenient, it's better, but I'm old and I like film. That's what I'm hearing.
The episode kicks off with fashion police sirens blaring. Chum strolls in wearing what Rick calls idiot shoes. Chum defends them, saying they're like sweatpants for his feet. Rick fires back, but Corey sides with Chum, roasting Rick's sneakers for looking like a 12-year-old's. Even the old man grumbles that Rick is a grumpy old bastard. By the time Rick flashes back to making Corey work construction at 12, you realize this isn't a pawn shop. It's a full-time roast battle.
You're wearing shoes for an idiot.
These shoes are comfortable. They're like sweatpants on your feet.
A seller arrives, holding what he proudly declares is the Ayler Cup. He spins a tale about Lillard Ayler, the first man killed in the 15th Regiment during WWII, honored with a silver trophy. Rick isn't buying it. He explains horses carried artillery and ambulances, but cavalry charges died fast against machine guns. Then Rick breaks it. The cup's just a 1930s jewelry store trophy for good horsemanship. Value? About $400 in scrap silver. Seller wanted $2,500. Talk about a buzzkill.
How would they use horses in World War I?
Automobiles aren't real advanced at the time, so a team of horses could carry something through them.
The seller insists it's unique and deserves respect. Rick shrugs, calling it scrap. The man refuses to sell, looking wounded, muttering the cup's worth more than metal. You can almost hear the Titanic theme playing in the background. This guy walked in with visions of historic treasure, only to get his dreams melted down like the silver cup itself.
You can't do better than that.
I would pay you scrap silver, that is it.
So you don't see any historical value.
Cut to the old man, napping at his desk again. Rick complains it's a pawn shop, not a retirement home. Corey suggests model cars as a hobby, but Pops snarls he only likes full-sized ones. Chum suggests shuffleboard, prompting Pops to threaten to shuffleboard his ass. He declares his real hobby is kicking these idiots' asses. Honestly, I'd buy tickets to that league. Corey tries again, warning Pops he needs hobbies to stay sharp. Pops grins. Sharper than all three of you put together, son. Mic drop.
Hey, y'all hold it down. I'm trying to rest.
Why do you come to work and then take a nap in front of your computer?
Things get exciting when a seller brings in Beatles memorabilia, a bass guitar signed by Paul McCartney, plus John, Ringo, and George on a ticket and photo. He brags about buying it at the Playboy Mansion during a charity event. Rick asks what he was doing there. Seller clams up. Corey doesn't push, but we're all thinking it. He asks for $25,000, minimum $12,000. Rick calls Jesse, his guitar expert, because this could be Fab 4 gold, or Fool's gold.
What we got here is a Sunburst guitar and Ringo's signature, George Harrison's signature.
Jesse inspects the bass. At first, it looks promising. McCartney famously played Hofner's, and Beatles fans pay insane money. But Jesse quickly spots the problem. This isn't Paul's guitar. It's a right-handed J. Tercer replica, complete with packing felt still under the bridge. McCartney, a lefty, never played it. So yes, Paul signed it, but no, he didn't play it. That alone drops value like a mic. Seller swallows hard. This isn't the appraisal he wanted.
I called Jesse over to take a look at this thing.
So what are your concerns with this one?
I was just wondering if there's any way to tell if it was actually...
Rick calls in Steve, the autograph guy, to check the signatures. Steve dives in, comparing them to known examples. Verdict: none of the autographs are legit. George Harrison's looks spurious, Ringo's star is wrong, Paul's guitar signature wouldn't fly, and Lennon's doesn't match any style. Steve calls it manufactured memorabilia. Translation: it's a wall decoration, not Beatles history. Seller storms out, furious, saying he feels robbed of $12,000. Ouch.
I just need to know if they're all legit. I know a Paul McCartney signed guitar is a pretty rare thing, so...
Back to comedy relief. Chumley, P2, and Chum force Pops to try hobbies again. First up, bird feeding. Chum dumps breadcrumbs, saying old people love it. Pops snarls he'll feed Chum to the birds. Then they hand him a puzzle, promising it'll sharpen his brain. Pops mutters to put the puzzle where the sun don't shine. Finally, Chumley drags him to bingo. Pops grumbles it's worse than the dentist, until he gets competitive. He shouts bingo, then calls Chumley worthless anyway. Legendary.
Lately, it seems like all the old man does at work is sleep. So we decided that he needs a hobby to keep his brain sharp.
Meanwhile, Corey helps his buddy, motorcycle shop owner Davey, pick out art for his condo. They browse sports memorabilia, but Davey passes. He wants something local and cool. Corey shows him a UNLV artist's playful grape paintings, complete with DUI checkpoint jokes. Davey loves it, but not the price. Corey asks $2,500. Davey pushes for $1,000. After some back and forth, they settle at $1,500. Corey insists not to tell Rick he sold it that low. Friendship discount in action.
At the Palms place, and I want to put some decor in it that'd be pretty cool. Anything particular? I mean, if...
Back at the shop, Rick keeps forcing Pops to work on the puzzle. Pops reluctantly agrees, but mutters he'll never finish. Chum tries to help, explaining how to sort corners. Pops snaps, "I know how to fix a damn puzzle, Chum." By the time Rick checks in again, Pops admits he threw away 5 pieces. Translation, he rage quit. Honestly, who knew puzzles could be more stressful than running a pawn shop?
Here you go.
What?
It's a puzzle, Dad. It keeps your mind sharp. It gives you something to do.
The episode wraps with the old man declaring he doesn't need hobbies. He has one already, kicking these idiots' asses. Corey and Chum laugh nervously. Rick sighs, and Pops leans back with his signature smirk. After fake Beatles, failed trophies, cheap art, and birdseed disasters, the old man still wins the episode. Moral of the story? Don't mess with Pop's hobbies. His best one is roasting his entire family.
This has got to be one of the hardest puzzles I've ever done. We want to find the old man a hobby. But surprise, surprise.
Imagine rolling into a pawn shop with half a car, no engine, no wheels, no seats, and still expecting gold. That's exactly what Sean did with a 1965 Shelby Cobra body. And the kicker, he got it for free when towing it out of storage. Paid to move it, and now it might be worth a fortune. Talk about winning the lottery without even buying a ticket.
If this is a real Shelby Cobra, this guy struck gold.
Not only did I get it for nothing, but I got paid to move it.
How long has it been in your family?
Probably over 150 years.
Rick's excitement was sky high until reality checked in. The Cobra was missing basically everything. No motor, no rear end, no steering wheel, just a shiny skeleton. But Rick's poker face slipped when Sean mentioned it's aluminum, not fiberglass. That's the mark of a real Shelby. If it's authentic, even a bare body could be a gold mine. Cue the tension.
Where's the rest of it?
Yeah, I thought it was a whole car.
No, it's a half a car. Done some research on it, and I'm pretty sure it's authentic.
Where did you get this thing?
I got a call about 6 months ago.
Sean swore he'd done the research. Real Cobras were aluminum. Replicas were usually fiberglass. But Rick wasn't buying that confidence. Over 100 companies made replicas, and Rick flat out admitted, "I don't know how to tell the difference." Translation, time to call in an expert before dropping a pile of cash. Sean's face screamed nervous excitement.
In a storage facility.
Just sitting in a storage facility.
And just someone left this.
Exactly.
Carroll Shelby is the king of the muscle car. He invented it, and he perfected it.
Next up, a customer waltzed in with what he thought was one of the first clocks ever made, 150 years old. Rick barely blinked before cutting him down. "That's not 150 years old. You have no idea what you got here, dude savage." Turns out it wasn't a clock at all. It was a World War II ship's chronometer.
How can I help you?
I got a timepiece.
Okay.
Probably, I think, one of the first clocks ever made. I'm serious. It's been in my family forever.
Rick explained how sailors once relied on these to calculate longitude before GPS. One tiny error, and you're off course by 1,000 miles. The seller looked like he was drowning in math class, while Rick nerded out on navigation. The man wanted $1,000, but the chronometer wasn't even ticking. Heartbreaking stuff, and also hilarious.
There, dude.
No. And I thought maybe I could make some money on it.
This is a ship's chronometer. It's probably 1940s.
Rick tapped the case, wound it, nothing. Dead as a doornail. Seller tried for $1,000. Rick hit him with $500. They argued, but Rick closed it at $700. A gamble for sure, like buying a car that doesn't run and hoping it just needs gas. The seller walked off annoyed, while Rick grinned like he just stole lunch money.
Okay, so if they're 6 hours off, they knew that they were 90 degrees east or west of Greenwich Mean Time, as long as this clock was accurate. This clock wasn't accurate.
Then came prehistoric terror. A guy walked in with shark teeth, including a massive massive Megalodon tooth. Rick dropped jaws, literally. From the size of this tooth, the guy was probably bigger than a city bus. Imagine an 80-foot shark, jaws on steroids. That thing makes the ocean look like a horror movie.
I want to get rid of them, but I do need money because I just started my own business.
So where'd you get these?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I was on a family vacation. My mom picked us up for me.
The seller wanted to pawn them for $1,000 to fund his new business. Rick didn't hesitate. Big teeth equal big resale. Either he makes interest when the guy comes back, or he flips them for $3,000. Win-win. Seller left relieved, Rick left smiling, and I left wondering why I ever go swimming.
The guy was probably around 80 feet long. This thing is like 100 times bigger than Jaws. It's like Jaws on steroids. And you want to pawn him?
Yeah, I'd rather pawn them than sell.
Back to the chronometer. Rick called in Ferdinand, an expert. Ferdinand popped it open, and within seconds discovered cork wedged inside. He pulled it out, and boom, the chronometer ticked perfectly. Rick had paid $700 for something worth $2,500. His face? Pure, I just robbed a bank and got away with it.
Oh, a little beauty.
Yeah, chronometer.
The ship's chronometers are unique because they have to adhere to a time standard no other clock or watch has to adhere to.
Now for the Cobra showdown. Mark, the Shelby expert, inspected the suspension, hood scoop, and frame. Finally, he wiped off the chassis number, CSX. That's the golden stamp. It was real. Value, $60,000. Sean looked ready to faint on the spot. Can you say drama overload?
I'm the president and owner of Nevada Classics and Shelby Cars Northwest. So Rick, what are your concerns about this?
Well, my concern is that this is a Shelby.
Then came the negotiation brawl. Sean asked $50,000. Rick lowballed at $25,000. The room went tense, knife-cutting tension. Big Hoss jumped in with $30,000 cash, crisp hundreds flashing like a magic trick. Sean resisted, but let's be honest, he towed it for free. 30 grand later, deal closed.
I mean, for the love of God, you got it for nothing.
Doesn't matter what I got it for, it's what it's worth.
Let's go 25.
I can't go 25.
Well, you gotta look at it from my position. I mean, are you ever gonna have to spend 100 grand to get this thing running?
As if that wasn't wild enough, we got a kite. Yup, a quad-controlled power kite. Corey, P3, took the strings, instantly turned into comedy gold, nearly slamming into poles and almost flying away himself. Big Hoss looked ready to disown him. Who knew kite flying could be life-threatening?
I called the pawn shop because I'm trying to sell I made my first kite out of a paper bag.
So what can you tell me about the kite?
The really interesting thing about this particular kite,
Seller only wanted $75. While Old Man wrestled the sky, Big Hoss passed. The seller walked away with his cash, and the kite literally floated off. Pawn Stars, where cars sell for thousands and kites end in slapstick chaos. Talk about variety.
Can we see it in action before we negotiate?
by all means. But the kite's quite powerful. They can't pick, a 200, 300-pound man up into the air.
Finally, the Cobra reveal. Restored in Shelby blue. Interior polished, carbureted engine installed to save costs. Mark put its value at $159,000. Then came the racetrack test. The old man drove like Miss Daisy, barely hitting 30 miles per hour, while Rick floored it. By the end, even Carol Shelby's ghost was probably shaking his head.
And now we're on our way to the racetrack to give it a test drive.
So guys, before we deliver a car to a customer, we always test drive it. Which one of you wants to do that?
Well, that's why they brought me. I'm the guinea pig.
Imagine walking into a pawn shop with a toy car and asking for $150,000. That's exactly what Bruce did when he brought in the 1969 Hot Wheels pink rear-loading beach bomb, the holy grail of Hot Wheels. The kicker? He wanted to sell it to fund his daughter's wedding. Talk about turning childhood toys into real-life wedding bells. Even Rick looked stunned at the price tag.
That's the holy grail of Hot Wheels, isn't it?
It sure is.
What do you want for it? Damn.
A bargain for the rarest of all rare toys.
I have here an etching.
Rick couldn't deny it. This Hot Wheel was special. Surfboards intact, mint condition, and the rarest variation never sold to the public. Bruce bragged about his 6,000-strong Hot Wheels collection, but this was his crown jewel. He tossed out $150,000 as casually as if he were ordering lunch. Rick's jaw nearly hit the floor, but instead of arguing, he did the smart move. Let's call Johnny, the toy expert.
That's the holy grail of Hot Wheels, isn't it?
It sure is. It's in mint condition. These are the original surfboards that go with it.
Yeah, that was a ragtop Volkswagen.
Enter Johnny, strutting in like the king of toys. The man practically sprinted to the counter when he heard rear-loading beach bomb. With white gloves on, he inspected the base, the paint, even tiny flaws in the casting. His verdict, 100% legit. Only 2 pink prototypes exist, and Bruce had one of them. Value? A solid $100,000. Rick's eyes widened. Bruce was practically holding a stack of gold.
When Rick called me and told me he had the Hot Wheels pink rear-loader beach bomb, I couldn't believe it, and I couldn't get here fast enough. This is the rarest and most sought-after Hot Wheel in existence.
Then came the negotiation meltdown. Rick cautiously offered $60,000. Bruce fired back with $140,000. Rick stretched to $70,000, but Bruce wouldn't budge. The man treated his Hot Wheel like a Lamborghini. After some tense back and forth, they shook hands on nothing. Bruce walked out, clutching his pink baby, still dreaming of 6 figures. You could cut the disappointment with a knife.
Nah, we're not in the same neighborhood. No, I'll go down to 140.
I mean, I go as high as 70.
Nah, it's just not gonna do it.
Next up, retro sci-fi chic. A lady rolled in with 2 UFO-shaped Weltron stereos from 1970, looking like props straight out of Star Trek. Chumley, of course, admitted he knew nothing about 8 tracks. I'm all about digital downloads. Classic. The seller wanted $3,000, but Big Hoss looked at them like novelty lava lamps.
Our 1970 Weltron UFO stereos, and these are actually 2 different models. This is the...
She fired them up, and sure enough, one still played radio. That didn't save the deal. Big Hoss tossed out $300, Rick countered at $500, and the seller begged for $600. After a bit of playful arm wrestling, they settled at $550. Seller sighed, the shop scored, and the stereos floated into the back like little space pods.
We can kind of hear a radio there, a little bit, FM, AM.
All right, so it works. We go ahead and turn it off. So,
yeah.
What are you looking to do with these?
Well, I'm going to sell them.
Meanwhile, Chumley had decided to write his memoirs. Yes, his memoirs. He bragged about epic street wars while scribbling nonsense. Rick called him a villain in Chum's life story, while the old man was crowned the hero. Watching them argue was like listening to kids fight over crayons. Except one of them was seriously trying to title his book 50 Shades of Chum.
Why? There's a lot of people out there with really interesting lives, and it's fun to read about it.
Kind of like my life.
I imagine your life is pretty boring, actually.
My life ain't boring.
The real high art moment arrived when Barbara walked in with a supposed Rembrandt etching. Rembrandt's mother with hand on chest. She wanted $10,000, already planning to spend leftovers on Super Bowl tickets. Rick gave a crash course on etching, acid baths, and copper plates like he was teaching Art History 101. The suspense? Was it a rare early state or just a later reproduction?
Where did you get this?
I have some awesome friends who decided I was worth it, and they gave it to me for my birthday.
Okay.
It was a landmark birthday, and I won't tell you how old, but it was over 30.
Rick called in Brett, the fine art expert, who practically drooled at the name Rembrandt. But after close inspection, he delivered the bombshell. It wasn't an early state. It was from the Millennium Edition, made in the late 20th century. Still authentic, but far from a masterpiece. Value? $1,500 to $2,000. Barbara's face fell faster than the stock market.
A lady came in with an etching by Rembrandt that could possibly be his mother. I need to know what state and what the value is of this etching. And if anybody will know, it will be Brett.
Rick, never shy about lowballing, offered $800. Barbara refused instantly, saying her friends had paid 4 figures for it. She left with the etching. Her Super Bowl dreams deflated. Rick shrugged it off. Business as usual. The expert's honesty crushed a hopeful payday, and Barbara walked out with nothing but wall decor.
This is a much more recent state, maybe as recently as late 20th century.
Okay, so what do you think it's worth?
From a value standpoint, though, I think we're talking about...
Back at the shop, Chumley proudly unveiled his finished memoir. The cover, a creepy drawing of Rick that looks suspiciously like Charles Manson. Inside, completely blank pages. Chum claimed, "You judge a book by its cover, and that's one hell of a cover." Rick's face said it all. Pure disbelief mixed with regret for ever hiring him. Comedy gold.
Pretty good picture, huh?
You look like that Manson guy.
Let me see the book. There's nothing in it.
Looking back, the episode was pure chaos. A six-figure toy car deal collapsing, UFO stereos selling for pennies, a Rembrandt reduced to wall art, and Chumley reinventing himself as a blank book author. Only on Pawn Stars could you see priceless art and 50 Shades of Chum in the same hour. Drama overload, folks.
There's going to be some good content in there, too.
And what's the name of this book?
Well, it's a working title right now. I was thinking maybe The Book of Chum.
The episode kicks off with a bang. Literally, a customer strolls in holding an 1849 Colt pocket revolver, bragging it was cutting edge back in the gold rush days. Rick's fascinated until he realizes someone scrubbed it down with a wire brush. That's like polishing the Mona Lisa with sandpaper. Instant value killer. Rick cringes, lowballs at $200, and after some haggling, seals it at $300. Risky move, and Rick knows it.
See if I can sell this 1849 Colt.
And this thing's loaded. My dad always told me, man, these things were a hole in the water you threw money into.
What's special about it is that Robert Duvall.
Rick explains why the left side of the revolver is beat to hell. It belonged to a left-handed cowboy. Details like that make history pop. But the shine doesn't help. Collectors want rust, not chrome. Rick sighs, muttering this might have been a mistake. He's already planning a trip to the gun expert to see if he just lit money on fire.
Say again?
So what's the oldest gun you got?
That's it right there.
Okay. Cool thing about this gun is this is right when they came out with the revolver. It was
Next, the chaos shifts from 6 shooters to sea nightmares. A seller pulls up with a 1984 Chris Craft boat, boasting twin engines and a $25,000 price tag. Corey's instantly wary. Boats are holes in the water you throw money into. Still, seller eyes light up, and against all fatherly wisdom, he buys it for $16,500. No test drive. Corey nearly faints when he finds out.
So what can you tell me about it, man?
That's 27 feet. It's got twin 350s, two 140 blowers.
Cue family drama. The old man explodes. We don't buy boats. Rick piles on. Corey didn't even test it. Pops looks ready to ground him like a teenager. Corey defends himself, insisting it's worth $30,000 fixed. The tension is thicker than engine oil. Rick fumes. One bad move like this could sink the company. Drama overload.
No, I didn't test drive. It's a Chris Craft. The thing's worth like 30 grand.
I could give a it's a Criff cast.
Rick drags his newly acquired Colt revolver to the gun expert, Johnny. Johnny shakes his head. This thing's toast. The cleaning destroyed half the value. The cylinder doesn't rotate, parts are missing, and it won't fire. Johnny jokes, might as well bury it for a few months to get some rust back. Ouch. Rick's gamble backfired, literally.
From what I can see, it's been beat up pretty bad. Too bad, it's a nice first model. Brass, all brass, and there was an etching.
Meanwhile, Corey tries to justify the boat purchase. The old man lays it down. If this boat loses money, you're done. Corey's sweating bullets, eager to prove himself. Corey admits the hardest part of his job is impressing a father who's seen it all. Family business isn't easy when every mistake is magnified.
Wait a second, let me talk for a change. If we sell the boat and we make money on it, I'll back you 100% with your father.
Just when things can't get riskier, in walks a customer with a 1954 Gretsch Rancher guitar. Not just any guitar. Robert Duvall played it in Tender Mercies, the role that won him his Oscar. Only 10 were ever made. The seller wants $10,000. Rick drools over it but coolly counters with $4,000. The seller pushes for $8,000, but Rick advises an auction instead. No deal, just heartbreak.
What's special about it is that Robert Duvall played it during his movie Tender Mercies.
Art makes its entrance next. 3 signed Salvador Dali prints from the Divine Comedy series. The seller wants $15,000 each, armed with appraisals. Rick, unimpressed with Dali's later work, aims lower. He offers $5,000 each. The seller sticks to $6,000, and they part ways. The prints leave unsold, but not without a side of artistic sass from Rick.
The Divine Comedy series, which has over 47 prints. This is very interesting, very fascinating, because this is the series that when he would wake up from a dream, he would just draw it. And then he would make the wood engraving and then print them out.
Back to the boat saga. Rick takes the Chris Craft to his buddy Bill. The expert says it could be worth $30,000 fixed, but boats are tricky. Repairs can make or break the deal. Bill's verdict? It needs about $4,000 in repairs. Rick braces for disaster, but breathes when it's not worse. For once, luck's on Corey's side.
The main engine fuse was blown. That's why the motor wouldn't start.
Okay.
We tuned them both up, changed the oils, changed the drive oils, acid washed it.
The big reveal. After repairs, the boat runs like new. Valued at $30,000 plus, Rick admits they might actually profit. Corey beams, desperate for his dad's approval. The old man, though, mutters his eternal warning. Boats are money pits. Still, the family takes it out on the water, wind in their hair. Victory for now. Pawn Stars survived another gamble.
Really got to talk to me or the old man before he makes these kind of decisions again.
You ready to go for a ride?
Definitely.
Back in the day when this boat came out, it was cutting edge.